It was built in 40. He launched it in 49. He kept it. Well, what we know, he kept it until about the mid-50s, and then he sold it to Donny Calvert. He had it for a few years, and after that he bought it back and kept it right through, well, till we think the late 60s or early 70s.
Oh, yeah, right, so he had it for a fair while.
Had it for a fair while, yeah. But it was built down at Wattle Grove, up in the hills up there. He and Athol Rowe, one of his good friends, and Nick Cranny, they ventured up the Huon River and got a heap of Huon pine back in the day, and got it all milled up, took it back down to Wattle Grove, and I think they built it down there. He was born in 26 and he launched it in 49, so he must have been about 23 when he launched it. So yeah, it's not a bad feat really. Is it?
It's awesome. Yeah.
So, built a trailer, took it down to Bullock Point, behind a tractor, and launched it on Athol Walter. Athol Walter, yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. So Athol Walter started off down at Bullock Point there, so they took the boat down to Bullock. He put it on his slip, launched it down there, and then raced it in the Huon Yacht Club for a good many years, and did the regattas and of what we know of it anyway.
Yeah, so it's been in the shed for 6 weeks or something, and we have drilled out all the old linseed putty so we can get at the fastenings, and we've probably replaced 50% of the ribs, steamed in new ones in the last week. And so it's just been steaming in the morning and nailing all afternoon. We've pulled the stringers out, they're hanging up on the top of the shed there, they're in really good nick, like solid old blue gum, so they'll go back in. All the deck framing's been pulled, and we've just braced the boat to keep the shape into it. And you can see we've splined the top half a dozen planks just to lock in that shape, because the boat had been sitting in the shed for so long. The timber was dry as a bone, so we were able to get straight into that. Yeah, we'll probably have it fully reframed by the end of next week, and then it'll be on to deck framing.
My grandfather built it, and there was always a bit of a strong desire to kind of get it back in the family through the, we were able to kind of keep a bit of a loose eye on it through the boat festival and things, and where it was over the years. And the Derwent class, all the boys being so tight knit, when word got around that she might be looking for a new home, we were pretty quick to jump on it and bring it back into the family. It's just lovely to have it kind of back, and for the guys here to do such an amazing job on it, and bring it back to our former glory. You can't have a bad time sailing on a D. They're such good fun. The camaraderie really amongst the guys is unreal. They're so competitive still, even though they are of completely of their time. And they're all they're all one design, but they've all got their little quirks. Some a bit on the outside of the planking or the inside, or little tweaks here and there. Peri had for whatever reason, had a masthead kite at some stage, which is just ridiculous. But and the boats have a history all on their own outside. All the guys now, they've as a collective kind of history together. They've raced together for many years. So the resurgence kind of thing now, where they're all able to race together again, is really cool. You look back through all the online articles and things, and you'd have 2 or 3 doing a Dover regatta in the 40s or something like that, and others were in town at the DSS doing other things, and it's that kind of, I guess, in a way, like competitiveness and kind of thing between them is really, really cool. And I think in many ways they're still a current thing. They're competitive, they're good fun, they're wet, and they're really easy to sail in that regard too. They're not that difficult. They're fairly simply rigged. Just good fun.